Hello there, Joe here with another Time for Tea Designs video. And at the start of our video, we have a little cameo from little Rosie as she decided to photobomb our video. So now I've managed to create a cat-free space. I'm going to start making our card for today. And I'm just doing some ink blending directly onto my card base, which is an A6 top folding card, which I'm using on a landscape orientation. And I've started using some of my tumbled glass from the left side of my card base, and then brought in some twisted citron from the bottom right. I've then deepened those colours with some mowed lawn and some salty ocean. And I'm now going to use our brand new Speech Bubbles stencil over the top of those colours. So I'm just going in with more of that salty ocean to define those speech bubbles. So this is a bit of a tone-on-tone effect, which I really do like the look of. Because the distress inks layer over each other, this makes for a really nice effect. So it gives you that, you still see the definition of the speech bubbles without having a totally different colour on top. So now my background's complete, I want to create some grass for my my characters to sit on, and I'm using one of the new landscape edge dies. So this is the hilly grass die, and I'm going to pop that through my die cutting machine, and I have just purchased a brand new Gemini. So this is the very first time that I've used it. So I am referring to my instructions and making sure that I get my plate configuration right. So now I've figured that out, I can pop that through the machine. And once that came through, I had actually put in the metal shim the first time, and that really did weld my my die into my cardstock. So for future ones, I haven't used the metal shim, and I did actually have to cut that again because the adhesive from my my washi tape had actually welded onto my cardstock, which wouldn't have allowed me to do this ink blending. So you can see here, I'm just showing you how just adding a little bit of colour to the tips of those grass blades does add a really nice bit of definition and ensures that your cardstock isn't flat. I've cut a border from some craft cardstock, and this is the Smile Scallop frame border die set, and that will just create a really nice frame for our scene. I'm using some of my liquid glue here just to attach that that little grassy hill edge to our to the bottom of our card. And now I'm going to cut off the excess with my scissors and just trim those little bits off. And now we can move on to our characters. So I'd already stamped out these images of our little pigs from the Hogs and Kisses stamp set. I really do love this stamp set, and I was dying to use it in a scene card. So I'm just colouring these guys up with some of my Copic markers, and I'm using the R20, R22, R21 and R22, sorry, to colour these guys up. So just a really nice salmony pink shade for our little guys. And I've started by laying down my lightest colour first, and then adding the shadow, working my way up those to my darkest colour where I think the light and shade would be. But as we talked about during the tutorial, the Facebook Live that where I created this card, I really don't think too much about where my shading is going to be. I really enjoy the process of colouring, and if I try and think about it too much, it takes the fun out of it. So please don't, overthink where the shade is. As long as you're giving your character a little bit of dimension, that really is all it needs. So I was just showing there some different techniques of using your Copic markers, but we will cover that in more detail, I think, in a future, perhaps in a workshop. There was a few requests for that throughout the Facebook Live, so we may come back to that at another time. So I've coloured in my scooter with some shades of red, the R24 and R27, just a couple of colours because it is small and the R shades do tend to be quite juicy, so I don't want to oversaturate my paper and that bleed out. some grey for the wheels, and then some brown shades to create the effect of perhaps a frappuccino or something along those lines in the coffee cup. And then some blue for the lid to make it seem like it's clear, and then a red straw. So now we've got that completed, I am just going to use the windmill add-on die to create this little fence and use the coordinating dies for our pigs to cut these out. And again, I'm going to use our new Gemini so I can fit all of these onto my plate at the same time and pop those through. And they came out much better this time because I didn't use the magnetic shim. So that would be my tip there if you are new to the Gemini. So I'm just going to shade up some of this craft cardstock now, again, just to give it a little bit more depth and dimension so it doesn't just look like a flat piece of card. And this is a really nice thing to do to all of your die cut card pieces, just to give them a little bit of dimension. And I'm using the gathered twig and ground espresso on all of my craft pieces here, just to give them that extra bit of interest. And just quickly, not as quickly as you see here, because obviously I have sped this up for your benefit. And now we're looking at our sentiments. So there are some great sentiments within this die set, and I really wanted to use the Sending You Hugs and Kisses. But I also wanted to use the speech bubble die set because that really coordinates with our background. And I've found one of the dies that fits perfectly with our sentiment. So I've stamped those out with some of my VersaFine Onyx Black ink, and now I'm going to use these dies to cut out our sentiment. The Oink sentiment is within the stamp set and does come with its own coordinating die. And I'm going to use some of my scraps of card here to cut out a bush that is also from the Seam Builder die set, and some of those flowers that are from both of those die sets as well. For the bush, I'm going to add again some more ink around the edges of that just to give that a little bit more depth. And the little die cuts that are in that bush will be really useful for us to pop in some of our flowers. Some liquid glue to attach my fence, and then just checking where I want to position that bush. I'm leaving the adhesive away from those die cut pieces because, like I say, I want to use those to just pop in some of our little flowers. I'm using some of my shaker tape now to attach my frame. So I'm just going to take off the backing paper just halfway around each of those pieces, so that when I come to attach it to the front of my card, I have a little bit of that, I suppose, that safety net in case I haven't lined it up quite right. I'm using some foam pads now just to attach those little piggies, which look so cute. I really do love these characters. And now we can start adding our sentiment, and again some foam tape to the back of that, and just figuring out quite where I want that to sit. And it does fit perfectly above that similar shaped speech bubble from our background, which works really well. And then some more for our little Oink sentiment. The flowers now, I'm just going to use my quick sticks tool to help me pick those up and arrange those. And I do think that adding these to the bottom of my my card has really brought those colours from the background and from the scooter, and it's just really finished off our scene here. So I'm using a combination of the blue and the red. I did cut out some yellow flowers as well because I thought I might use the yellow centre points for the flowers, but actually, because there's no other yellow in the rest of our scene, I felt that would be too jarring. It would clash too much. So I'm actually using the centre points from the red flowers on my blue and the blue centre points on my red, apart from on one where I actually lost the blue centre point. So I had to use red, but I don't think it matters. So we're adding some white highlights with my Jelly Roll pen, which I really like to do. And I'm also adding that onto our fence panel and onto our flowers. And I do think that that really helps bring all of those elements together and really shows them as being coordinating. I've added some glossy accents to the coffee cup. And then I'm going to use this black glaze pen just to add a bit of extra colour to those eyes and nostrils. And that's our card complete. I do hope that you enjoyed the card today. If you did, then it would be great if you could like and subscribe to our channel, and do join us for our next Facebook Live on Thursday at 8 o'clock. Thanks again for joining me, and I'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye now.